Hello everyone, this is Dren001 and welcome back to a brand new video. And that's the old design. This is the new design. We are doing a reprogrammable lock. And basically this is something that I thought about. It was a discussion on a Discord server where I was like, we were talking about these reprogrammable lock setups and all that kind of good stuff. And a common thing that was coming up was just like reprogrammable locks. And I remember way back when I actually made an item reprogrammable lock, but I don't know where it went. So I decided to go back to the drawing board and actually make it again. And so this one actually uses a hopper minecart system. It is, of course, 3 by 3 by 3 cube. And what you basically do is you throw in any item that you want to consider as a key. So I suggest going into like an anvil and renaming an item or something like that. That makes them more secure. But you toss the item in and it gets picked up by the hopper. And you can see it's right here. So we actually start out with that not there. And it has an empty spot. So we end up putting in the block. So now it is considered locked because if we have any other item, let's just say we grab a piece of stone. Actually, we should have done this. Grab a piece of stone. Let's just toss it. Boom. Hey, whoop-de-doo. It doesn't actually go through. That's kind of odd. But if we put in the exact same key card, it will activate and actually kick out the key card at the end. So it will keep this item in here and go all the way down and kick it out at the end. And so you can just constantly do this. And the reason why it kicks it out here is because you can actually make a glass kind of elevator and build it all the way up to the same height so that when it gets kicked out, let me actually go another width to it. So let's actually toss this guy in here like so, and then this will get popped up, and technically you need to I forgot you need to actually have glass here too, or else it gets kicked out. But yeah, basically you put like a glass elevator set up, and it will elevate the block all the way back to the surface. So when you use it, it just kicks itself back out again. You don't have to do any interaction with the setup. And if you want to reprogram it, you go back here to a button. Honestly, the button can be anywhere on this block, either side. You can use this one, but this one's a little touchy because it actually activates that hopper. So you need to press this button, and it will, see, you just saw it kicked out the item. And so it completely ejects it. And so then you can pick another item, toss it in, boom, hey look, now we can't use iron, and we can use stone, and boom, stone gets kicked out. See? Pretty nice, pretty nice, pretty nice. So yeah, everything is pretty self-explanatory. What you want to do is you want to have a slab right here next to the hopper. You want this hopper pointing down and into this dropper. And then you want this hopper minecart. You see this piece of glass pane? You want to push all the way into it so that it's hovering over this hopper. And this slab is necessary because otherwise it would actually activate this hopper. Of course, we have a comparator output, and it goes to here. Now, the reason why you have this button is to divert the redstone. You can use a lever. You can use pretty much any redstone device as long as it doesn't activate anything else. This is just to make sure that it curves around as opposed to pointing in and activating this hopper. Of course, we have an item in here that constantly makes sure that this is locked when we drop our item in here. When we activate, you can see that gets activated and pushes that out, and that's because the timing on this circuit, because of this activator rail, it takes it a lot longer to realize that you've kicked one out. So instead of doing a when we have more items than we want, it keeps kicking them out, we have to do it of once it goes one extra, then it kicks one out, which doesn't really cause much issues unless you throw down a stack of your entire key cards. If you do, it will still work because, well, you would break that this will change. So just try to only have like 2 or maybe 3 keys and not throwing them all at once. So yeah, it is pretty basic, this one. But then there is this other design. This one's a little bit more complex, and it works a bit differently. Let me double check. Yeah, so same kind of setup. I do have an item in here that I've just like smashed the keyboard to pretty much make. Similar setup with the dropper right here. The reason why we have the dropper like so is that you can make the glass elevator. Of course, same glass pane, pretty much same everything, except we activate the dropper here, and we actually have this to make sure we don't activate it earlier, and it goes over and it activates two things. It activates this guy right here and activates the dropper, and the dropper is actually locking here. And because of this setup, it actually lasts for a bit longer and lets two items through. So we have a double pull setup, so you can see we have like an observer looking at this, looking here, looking here, looking here, looking here, and it goes into this block. And then we have one that just goes and looks into this top block. So the idea is you toss this item in, woohoo, we've selected our key, we set this one in, and now what it's going to do is it's going to kick out the key and the copy. And so there's use for this. You can do a bunch of different things. My next design for next video is actually using a similar system. But basically this is so that you don't have to manually reset, and it kind of goes around the idea that you just toss in blocks, and whenever you want to reset, it will just kick all the keys back out, and it goes up the elevator, and then you can just pick whatever you want to add back in. So basically you do have to reset and lock it again after every use. So you would kind of like have the stone in there, go around, do whatever you want, toss in the item, and then they kick out, boop, 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 and then you go, okay, well, now we just need to reset the lock again, and then you're good. So you've reset it, and that's how you do that. But so this is for designs that you're constantly going to change the code. This is for designs where you need to press this button. This one just makes it so that all you have to do is throw the items in. Less TLC, which is great. Okay, and we're back to this one. This one I have to be a little closer to because the project got a little bit too close to this, but you can see we have like the regular output. Granted, it is a bit bigger of items that you need, so it is a little bit more expensive. All one wide, all tileable. We lock this guy, and this actually sends a pulse to drop. This is, of course, the single output, so of course we have the one, and this one's constantly in here. Of course, if you want to reset it, you would have to put a button. Basically, back here, you just like put a little like button, just pop button, and then the entire thing would just kind of work. So let's actually put button in all the places that you can put it. Basically, anywhere here is good. Anywhere here is good. You can even have something like this occur where you have a button like that. Yeah, pretty basic, and it will do like you want. But at the same time, this is something that isn't really useful. I'll be honest, I haven't been able to figure out any reason why you'd use this besides the whole factor of, hey, I want to have one that doesn't use a hopper minecart, and I want one that's one wide and tileable. Doesn't make a lot of sense. The one that is useful, though, is this guy, which is a little bit more complicated, and it kind of barrels back to the idea of it kicks out both of them at once. So we have the one item in here, boo-boo, da-da-da-da, and then we have, of course, this activating this guy, which, I'll be honest, I'm not too big of a fan of because of some issues with it. So I have recently switched out for either a repeater or a comparator. So you can see the block actually kicked out. So I put like a repeater, comparator, or even an observer. I put an observer for times in which I'm running water by it. Of course, we have an observer that activates this guy. This is at 2 ticks because you want a solid output in order to actually get the repeater or the torch to activate, which then locks this guy. And then we have one chain that starts a delay pulse. We have this on, of course, 3 ticks, as you can see, so that it activates this guy. And then we have another one that activates a bit later so that we get a double output here. So let's go ahead and toss in item, then other item, and then we get pop, pop. there we go. That's the 2-item output, and now here's the other thing. This is one that, I'll be honest, I have basically hit my face on the desk a couple times on, and to be honest, it's not really useful. In any situation, you're going to want to be using this guy, because this one, in order to actually make it work, you're going to have to send a thing over, because you can't lock this hopper through this guy. It just doesn't happen, and it just is a bit awkward. So in order for you to lock this guy, you need to send a complete structure over into here, and by that time you just rather use this or one of these guys over here. So that's just a bit too big, a bit too unnecessary. So this is as far as I got to where I was like, nope, not gonna happen. So there you go. This is, of course, reprogrammable, all that kind of stuff. And it is pretty safe, so if you are on a server, you can make this bedrock if you want. This one this one does work. Does it work? I can't remember, does it work? Yes, it does work, actually. Issues, though, is that you want the dropper, of course, outwards. This is like my first design, so you can see I do stuff a bit differently. Honestly, it's a bit bigger than this guy over here. So I actually prefer this one, pretty much across the board. As you can see, pretty simple. I don't even think I really need to show you guys how to build it. But yeah, there you go. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section. Of course, I did get this idea through a conversation on the Redstone server, and which apparently hadn't been, I think it's like Redstoner server now I think about it. So yeah, credit to those guys for being inspiration. And so yeah, here's the design that's going to be in next video. So